as amended.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar Number 84, H.R. 4089, a bill to direct the Secretary of Homeland Security to develop and disseminate best practices for rental companies and dealers to report suspicious behavior to law enforcement agencies at the point of sale of a covered rental vehicle to prevent and mitigate acts of terrorism using motor vehicles and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Thompson, and the gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Guest, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and to include extraneous material on this measure.
Without objection.
Madam Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today in support of H.R. 4089, the Darren Drake Act. This month, the nation observed the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. Next month, we mark the 4th anniversary of the deadliest terrorist attack to be carried out in New York City since 9/11 attacks. In that attack, a lone wolf, inspired by ISIS, rammed a rented truck into pedestrians and cyclists who were out enjoying a sunny Halloween afternoon on a pathway that ran along the Hudson River. That attack took the lives of 8 people and injured 11 others. One of the victims of the attack was Darren Drake, a 32-year-old bicyclist and the namesake for this important legislation. While it's not within our power to bring back Darren Drake or the 7 other victims of this tragedy, we do have the ability to learn from this event to better address the threats of vehicle-based attacks. H.R. 4089, introduced by my colleague from New Jersey, Mr. Gottheimer, seeks to ensure that rental vehicle facilities, like the one where Darren Drake's killer rented a truck, are better equipped to prevent vehicle-based attacks. Specifically, the Darren Drake Act requires the Department of Homeland Security to develop best practices for vehicle rental companies and dealers to report suspicious behavior in a manner that protects civil rights and civil liberties. The bill directs DHS to consult and share best practices with state and local partners and rental companies to help strengthen communication and relationships to guard against vehicle-based attacks. H.R. 4089 is a common-sense measure that acknowledges that vehicle rental companies are important partners in efforts to prevent vehicle-based terrorist attacks and provide them with the tools to identify suspicious behavior and notify authorities. With that, I urge my colleagues to support the Darren Drake Act and reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Guest, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
I rise today in support of H.R. 4089, the Darren Drake Act. In the wake of the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, it is critical that we remain vigilant to threats posed by terrorist and extremist organizations. Over the past 2 decades, terrorists have carried out multiple vehicle ramming attacks in North America and Western Europe. Al-Qaeda and ISIS have promoted these types of attacks for years, including in Inspired, the online magazine of Al-Qaeda, and Rumia, ISIS magazine. ISIS has called upon its followers to conduct vehicle ramming attacks by buying, renting, stealing, or borrowing trucks and targeting large outdoor events, crowded pedestrian streets, outdoor markets, and rallies. This legislation requires the Department of Homeland Security to develop and disseminate best practices for rental companies and dealers to report suspicious behavior to law enforcement agencies at the point of sale of a covered rental vehicle to prevent and mitigate attacks of terrorists using these motor vehicles. This represents an important tool for addressing extremist threats. The ability of government and the private sector to work together to mitigate terrorism risk. I urge members to join me in supporting H.R. 4089, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Thompson, is recognized.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I yield 3 minutes to the sponsor of this bill, the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Gottheimer.
The gentleman from New Jersey is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Thompson, and Madam Speaker, I rise today in support of H.R. 4089, the Darren Drake Act, bipartisan legislation I introduced in the Committee on Homeland Security with my Republican colleague and co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, to help prevent terrorist vehicle attacks and to protect Americans nationwide. This legislation is named in memory of a constituent from my district, Darren Drake of New Milford, New Jersey, who was one of those tragically killed in the terrorist attack in Lower Manhattan on October 31st, 2017, when an ISIS-inspired terrorist truck drove a rented pickup truck into cyclists and runners for a mile along the West Side Highway, killing 8. The bill takes critical steps to stop these weapons of terror and help prevent terrorist truck attacks by requiring the Department of Homeland Security to develop and disseminate best practices for vehicle rental companies and dealers to report suspicious behavior to law enforcement. These best practices will be developed and updated in consultation with state and local enforcement, as well as industry experts. This crucial legislation will provide rental companies and car dealers with the vital information they need to flag and stop potential terrorist threats in their tracks. We could take no chances when it comes to terrorism, which is why this bill will help ensure all rental companies report suspicious behavior at every point of sale. No excuses. We simply cannot afford any excuses when it comes to a question of life or death. The bill will also require the Secretary of Homeland Security to report to Congress regarding the implementation of these best practices and other ways they are helping improve coordination between the department and rental vehicle providers. This common-sense bipartisan bill is aimed at stopping ISIS-inspired lone wolf and domestic terrorists from easily acquiring trucks and other vehicles to wreak havoc and cause mass destruction and death. It is an important addition to our arsenal as we work to eradicate threats of terror across our nation. I want to thank Darren's parents, Jimmy and Darren Drake, who've become dear friends, for working with me on this effort. Thank them for their leadership, and we will continue working to ensure this measure becomes law in Darren's memory and honor, to help prevent future attacks and save lives. It's the least we can do. Madam Speaker, I strongly urge all my colleagues to support this common-sense bipartisan legislation to help our nation fully combat terror wherever it rears its ugly head. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The gentleman, Mr. Thompson, reserves. The gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Guest, is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I have no further speakers, and I urge members to support this bill. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields. The gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Thompson, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I yield myself the balance of my time. Madam Speaker, from the 2016 Bastille Day truck attack in France to the 2017 deadly car ramming in Charlottesville, to the 2017 attack that took the lives of Darren Drake and 7 others, we've seen the use of vehicles to carry out terrorist attacks become disturbingly common. Our nation faces a complex and evolving threat landscape, but the threat of vehicles ramming attacks is not going away. And as long as we would-be terrorists seek to use rental vehicles as weapons of terror, we must provide rental dealers with the ability to do their part. I urge my colleagues to support the Darren Drake Act, and I yield myself back the balance of my time.
The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill H.R. 4089 as amended? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
I request the yeas and nays.
Pursuant to Section 3S of House Resolution 8, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause